Right, Candida. This is something that I could talk to you for hours about because there is so much that I have researched into it, so many different protocols that I have tried, and it's just a big topic. There is a lot of differentiation between different people on how they combat it, but the main thing today is I want to share this protocol with you because this is the latest one that I've tried, the one that I've had the most success with, and I really think it's a great place for you to start with. Okay, the Candida protocol I'm talking about is one that I came across from Dr. Rob Ivker. Okay, he works on mostly with sinus problems, but again, it's still the same issue. Us people who might have Candida have generally had sinus problems in the past or may still have recurring sinus problems. It's because that yeast infection affects that. So we need to kill off that yeast, and then things are going to get better, and that's great. So the Candida protocol that we go through with Dr. Rob Ivker, he basically uses three main supplements. Alamed, which is a supplement of pure allicin, which is an extract from garlic. There is Candisol or Candex. They, I believe, are the same product. And the last one is Candidaivker. Now, this one, I'm not sure about the details of it as much, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So, firstly, I'm going to link to a podcast that Dr. Rob Ivker did on the Biohackers Show with Anthony DiClemente. And you'll be able to listen to him talking about that and then talking through the actual protocol itself. I've detailed the protocol below the video, so you're able to go through it yourself. Now, one thing I will tell you though is I didn't do the protocol exactly as it is. Okay? For me, I tried it, it was too much, I had to modify it and I had to change what the dosages were so I could actually keep it up. So with I believe I started with the Candex and I slowly increased the dosage from a very low dose to a higher dose, and I got to a limit where I didn't want to go anymore because I kind of felt like it just felt like if I took any more than that I was going to cross the boundaries and I'm going to get my energy impacted too much. Eventually I was able to hit the higher dosage, but it took me a longer time to run into that. It may have taken weeks or months. I know when I started this one, I went on it and then went off it because I noticed too much of the Herx reaction, that die-off, impacting my energy and feeling like I was poisoned from the inside out. So keep that in mind as you go in that as well. I would recommend progressing in the same way, with starting with the Candex and then moving on to the next thing. So I did get hold of the Alamed. The Alamed I also started, but I did not start at the high dose. And again, I don't recommend you ever start at the high dose. I recommend you start at a low dose and work your way up to it. Just see what your body is going to handle. So I would have started with one time a day and then seen how my body handled it. And I believe I might have lasted only a few days before I was starting to get too run down from it and I dropped it. So I might have left it for 2 or 3 weeks and then started again. And I started with just the one, and when I could do one regularly for 3 or 4 days and I didn't feel like it was knocking me around too much, impacting my energy, I pushed it up. And then I pushed it up some more, and I pushed it up some more, and eventually I hit that high dose that he has set out in the starting point. So use your intuition, use your own feelings to guide you through that process. Don't be attached to I have to get it perfect, because again, I've been through so many different Candida protocols over about 6 or 7 years, and even doing this last one, I had to modify it so it was easier on my system because it was knocking me around too much. Okay? So for somebody who hasn't taken it, it might just absolutely floor you really quickly if you go straight to the high dose. Start low, slowly build it up. And you're building it up, it may mean building it up over time. I don't believe I hit the high dose for 2 or 3 months. It was more, once I had worked at that lower dose, I was then able to push it up to that higher dose for the 20 days as is suggested, and then back it off a little bit more until I was done with the complete protocol. So Candidaivker is the other one in the protocol. Now, from everything that I researched on this, I've been into his website, and I have a link through to the website so you can have a look at this. I found it was difficult to get hold of the candidaicide. I found it wasn't listed on his website anymore, so I'm not sure what the deal with that is, or if he even uses it, or if he uses a different product. Again, in one of the links, I've linked through to the protocol that he uses with the products that are available, and candidaicide is not included in that list. He has something else in there. So after I discovered this, I went and got something else and I used that instead. So bear in mind that I am using a whole lot of other antifungals at the same time, one of them being oregano oil, which I swear by. I would use certain herbs and spices which combat the parasite candida, and I also got hold of a Now Foods Candida support, which I used instead of that candidaicide. And I didn't even use that at a high dosage. I used that at a low dosage. I've only just recently put the dosage up to a little bit higher to finish off the end of the protocol, because when I went too high on the dosage, I felt like I got knocked around by it too much. Okay, so just be careful, be aware that there are multiple options for this. The Candex is really easily available on iHerb, not too difficult, not too expensive. The Element is a little harder to get hold of, but I have links through to a couple of websites which you can get hold of them fairly easily, which is great. And yeah, the candidaicide, I'm not sure about that. Use your discretion. You can order that. You may have to order it from the US, but you may find somewhere local if you want to do that. Again, I found discrepancies in the dosage that Dr. Ivker put out and what is on the labelling. Didn't add up to me. I pushed that one aside and I went with something else. Like I said, I used the Now Foods Candida support, or Candida formula, whatever it is, I'm not sure. And the dosage of that was 2 capsules, and I still only used 1 capsule. Okay? So, anyway, the protocol works, but remember, you've got to do it in use with everything else. So this Candida protocol fits in with the killing off the bugs strategy in fighting infections. Okay, so you still need to follow all the other steps in there, combating the Herx reaction, eating a good diet, especially that antifungal diet, which I have in a different video, rebuilding your digestive system, and managing the toxicity. All of those things are all highly important, so make sure you don't miss a step in that fight infection section and just slip that protocol into the killing off phase if that's where you're at. Now, again, we don't know how long this is going to take. The protocol itself is about 3 months. It may take you 3 months to go through it. It may take longer. That's okay. Whatever it takes is whatever it takes. It doesn't mean the whole thing is done. It doesn't mean you're over the candida. It means you may have dealt with most of it. But if you start bringing those foods back, if you go high sugar and junk food and stuff, you're going to start feeding the candida again. The numbers are going to build up, and it's just like pouring fuel on a fire. It's just going to go out of control again. So you don't want to sabotage that by going back to your bad habits. Once the protocol finishes, you just stop the killing off and you just focus on rebuilding that digestive system, keeping good quality foods in, having it so they're easy to digest, using your digestive enzymes to break down the food so you can get as much nutrition from it as possible and allow your body the best chance at recovery. Alright? 3 months, probably going to take a lot longer than that. It may take years. Like I said, for me, I'm 6 years in. However, I didn't know then what I know now. And I am a lot healthier even a year ago as to what I was 2-3 years ago to where I was 6 years ago. Okay? So take your time with it. Candida is a big fight, but it is certainly one you can win. And once you start to win the battle, your energy will come back, your brain will come back, everything gets better. So good luck with it and enjoy that fight.